Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Seafood That Guy channel. This is your boy, Seafood That Guy speaking. And today I got a new theory for y'all, and it's called
Egghead will burn.
Yeah, before we get started though, make sure you guys do us a solid, drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, guys. I appreciate everybody who comes through and subscribes, drops a like on the videos. Really helps the channel. And you already know the catchphrase. Let's get straight into it.
Hey, listen!
Yeah, so this is a super duper interesting topic. I actually touched on it in my last video where my top 3 predictions for Egghead Island, and this was an honorable mention where I mentioned that Egghead will cease to exist after this arc. Now, there's a couple of you guys where I can hear you groaning, I can see you rolling your eyes, and you're saying, Seafood, what are you talking about? There's been no indication that Egghead will be destroyed in this arc. Wrong. Oda has given us signs, he's left breadcrumbs time and time again, and that's why your boy Sifu is here to point them out to you. Now, we've seen a couple of different islands get destroyed in the One Piece universe. However, Egghead is a little bit special, and depending on how the story goes, there could be a couple of different ways on how the island would meet its demise. Whether it be a show of strength by our pirate friends, the Straw Hats, even Blackbeard showed up on Egghead now, or maybe even the world government themselves decide to destroy their own island, we're here to explore all of that. Let's start off with the big bad WG. Now, Egghead Island is really important to the world government. I mean really important. We saw Saturn state to Kizaru in chapter 1090 that their 3 main objectives are York, Punk Records, and of course the power source that fuels the Mother Flame. That tells me a couple of things. Number one, they're not just gonna send in a force in there to just blow it up like they usually would, but that this island is so important that there's things here that they cannot afford to lose. They sent in their best man Kizaru when things got out of control because he's usually the fixer, right? He goes in and he takes care of business, but when they seemed like Kizaru was taking too long, Saint Saturn stepped off the porch and got into the battle himself. Not that that's ever stopped the world government from blowing up an important island before. I mean, look at Enies Lobby. It was basically supposed to be the stop before you send a criminal to impel down, but you know what? Spandam called in the boys and they erased that thing. Now, the world government really gets a kick out of blowing up islands. I mean, along with Enies Lobby, you've got the Ohara incident, something that's been drilled into our brains ever since Robin's flashback right before Water 7. I mean, these guys really get off on blowing up islands, and we can take it as far as chapter 1060 where Sabo had barely begun to recover on the Lucia Kingdom, and well, Emu decided to X that thing off the map, and now the Lucia Kingdom has been completely obliterated. It just goes to show that over the past 2 years, not only have they been thinking about blowing up more islands, but they've gotten creative with it. The Mother Flame is an invention by Vegapunk where they now have the ability to erase islands off the map. What does that mean for Egghead? Well, the narrator already stated that there's more Marines here than on the day of Enies Lobby. There's more Marines here than on the day of the Ohara incident, which doesn't really bode well for an island that you expect to wake up on tomorrow. On top of that, it really hasn't been a great look for the world government since the incident of Egghead Island has begun. I mean, at this point, Morgans is running stories about how Yonko pirate Luffy pulled up and kidnapped Dr. Vegapunk. I mean, Saint Saturn stepped foot on there and revealed his power to a plethora of people, and I don't know how to tell you this, but the world government like keeping their secrets. Can somebody say erased from history? Nah, but seriously, I'm just trying to make it clear that Egghead Island will no longer be here after this arc, and the world government's got options on the way that they want to do it. Now, let's not go thinking that Oda's just gonna pigeonhole himself into a corner by just thinking about the world government. No, this is Oda we're talking about. He could have Blackbeard pull up and black hole the place. He could even have Luffy showcase some island busting potential. I mean, look at the rest of the Yonko. They all seem to have island busting potential. Why not him, right? Both options are good, but to me, there's still something, I don't know, missing. There's a heart-wrenching aspect to this arc that I feel Oda will lean into the most. So, if you'll allow me a moment, let me explain to you how I think Egghead Island will be destroyed. Now, where we've left off in chapter 1103, Kuma just showed up in the nick of time to save his daughter Bonnie from being crushed and skewered by Saint Saturn. This fight is gonna be flippin' epic, so I'm right there with you guys. I can't wait till chapter 1104 comes out. Like, Oda, please, just drop it. But I digress. This fight will go on, and it will lead Saturn to come to the conclusion that Egghead Island will be destroyed. Saturn will give the orders to all of the Vice Admirals and the CP0 agents and say, hey guys, collect York, collect what you can from the power plant, we'll rebuild somewhere else, but for right now, assassinate Vegapunk, let's get the hell off this island, and we're burning it to the ground. As the Saturn and Kuma exchange continues here, Saturn will have the upper hand barely, but Kuma will impress. Trust me, he'll definitely impress. At this point, Luffy and Kizaru will resume. Now that Kizaru's got some rest time, Luffy's got some food in him, they'll definitely get back to sparring. However, Kizaru's moral conscience will start to kick in. Now, I know there's a bunch of you guys that are saying, yo, I knew that man Kizaru was gonna flip. I knew he was gonna join the Straw Hats, join the Grand Fleet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Kizaru will start to have his morals weigh in on him for sure. But as both battles start to get out of control, Saturn gets frustrated with trying to talk to and reason with Kuma since, obviously there's no real conscience there. Kuma's body's just acting on its own. So therefore, he decides to give Kizaru and CP0 the order to eliminate Bonnie. Now, Kizaru freezes. He really is in a moral quandary here because, like stated in Kuma's flashback, he's never been given the order to kill a child before. And just to go on a quick little side rant here, Kizaru is really a special character in this arc. I really can't emphasize that enough. We saw in Kuma's flashback where Stussy was talking to Kuma on his operating bed and asking him the question, I wonder which one of us got the worst deal, me, a clone that has her freedom, or you, a human who's getting his freedom taken away. And my answer to that is, well, neither. The person who got the worst deal is Kizaru. You're talking about one of the strongest people on the planet who willfully gives up his freedom to serve the world government and the Gorosei. And that's been a concurrent theme throughout One Piece. You see the Marines, you see that they're basically just lapdogs for the world government, and you see the pirates and they have freedom and joy, and Kizaru truly embodies the other side of that coin. But anyways, let's get back to the subject. Kizaru will freeze when given the order to attack Bonnie. He won't do it. His motto is unclear justice, and this just doesn't make any sense to him. But in that moment where he hesitates, Rob Lucci will attack Bonnie, and before Rob Lucci can even harm a hair on her head, in a fit of rage, Kuma pushes everybody in all directions, sending Luffy, Kizaru, Lucci, and even Saint Saturn flying upward into the Frontier Dome. At this point, the battle is still continuing. However, the residual Straw Hats and the rest of the Vegapunk satellite bodies decide to grab Bonnie, grab Stella, and enact their plan to escape. They head towards the Vega Force 1, which we know is holding the Sunny right now. They fire it up and they get the hell out of there. Kuma grabs Bonnie and pushes them onto the Straw Hat ship, expecting Luffy to help Bonnie, and as they are making their escape, Saturn triggers Kuma's self-destruction sequence. Kuma blows up on the Sunny, and even though the Sunny will be okay, it's made out of atom wood, it sets forth a chain of events where the Frontier Dome actually starts to fall apart. The island clouds that naturally clump together, remember Vegapunk says that the island clouds are naturally able to clump together, that's how people are able to walk on them, they start to separate, and the Labo phase and Punk Records begin to fall and collapse onto the Faberio phase. Now from here you got options. You can basically take it in any which way you want. You could say Kuma is dead right there. You can say that Kuma survived by pushing his consciousness into the S-Bear or the ancient robot, whatever you want basically, but Kuma blew up and now Egghead is collapsing in on itself. You can even fluff it by saying Edison and York were caught in the blast, or somehow they get caught in the explosion on Egghead Island, so they die, basically leaving Lilith and Stella as the only Vegapunks. But as they make their escape, Lilith actually stays behind with the Vega Force 1 in order to give Saturn what he deserves and allow the Straw Hats to escape. We know the Vega Force 1 can only go so far from the island. Anyways, the Straw Hats coup de burst in the direction of Elbaf, and Lilith dies fighting various different marine forces by herself. Now, the important thing is that in the destruction of Egghead, both the Pacifistas and the Vegapunk satellite bodies are destroyed. Vegapunk Stella will be the only OG Vegapunk left, and he's now riding along with a Yonko crew, so he's basically untouchable. Saint Saturn could command Kizaru to pursue them because I'm sure he's fast enough, but instead of flying towards the Straw Hats, he just flies away because now he's a broken man, a shell of his former self, and he decides to get away from all this and go rediscover his purpose. So Kizaru's out of the game right now. And honestly, I could see him joining up with the Fujitoras and the Smokers of the world. Like I said in my previous video, he's not just gonna pull a Kuzan and, you know, become a pirate or something like that. He's not gonna do all that. But with Egghead and Punk Records destroyed and the factory being demolished as well, Saint Saturn has no choice but to recall all his forces and return to Mary Joa in shame. What a shame indeed. He went there to stop Egghead Island's destruction. He actually caused Egghead Island destruction. The Straw Hats and Vegapunk got away, and now the world government has no choice but to mobilize on Elbaf, somewhere they definitely don't want to go. I mean, they don't want to go to Wano, then they definitely don't want to go to Elbaf, right? But they have no choice as Yonko and Cross Guild members and pirates alike all converge on Elbaf. And that concludes our theory of Egghead's destruction, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this theory in the comment section. Am I crazy to think Elbaf won't be here anymore after this arc? Am I crazy to think that Kuma's self-destruction option is going to play a part in the future? I felt like Oda really emphasized that in the Kuma flashback. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we're dropping videos like crazy on this channel this year. I mean, this is already my second or third video this year, so make sure you guys hit that notification bell. I don't want you to miss out on anything. This has been your boy Sifu That Guy coming to you live, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.